They came without warning. 9,900 alien warships, each bristling with weapons that had shattered civilizations, descended through the cold dark above Earth. Sleek and silver, forged in the plasma furnaces of dying suns, the Dominion Armada moved as one. No chaos, no fear, just certainty. Their path was smooth, their plans perfect. Earth, after all, was just a Tier 3 death world. Loud, primitive, alone. Inside the flagship Orca-Tool, Supreme Fleet Mind Urek, Vo watched the blue-green orb grow larger on the display. The oceans shimmered like polished glass. The continents slumbered under clouds. No shields, no fleets. Not even a warning beacon. A science vessel pinged the surface. No global defense grid, no active energy fields. Population appears dormant. Jurek's twin mouths curled into what passed for a smile. Typical Terrans, loud in trade, silent in fear. Proceed. Across space, squadrons deployed. Thousands of atmospheric penetrators broke formation and hurled toward the surface, screaming through the upper layers of the atmosphere like silver comets. Targets: military installations, communication hubs, orbital elevators, arcology centers. Still, no response. No fighters scrambled. No missiles launched, just silence. And then something changed. Not in the sky, on the ground. From deep within the crust, tectonic sensors began to spike. Minor quakes, spasms in the magnetosphere. The moon's orbit shifted by less than a micron, but measurable. On Earth, in a sealed bunker buried beneath the Himalayas, a single word flashed across ancient black consoles. Awaken. Old programs thought extinct recompiled themselves. Silos long buried in ice cracked open. Liquid metal bled from rock. Codes whispered into sleeping systems, and machines dreamed of war. Jurek blinked at his control screens. Atmospherics. Distortion detected. Source unknown. The fleet's AI attempted to triangulate the disturbance. Every satellite they launched went dark. Every probe returned static. Then, one Terran broadcast, audio only. Grainy, raw. The voice of a species that never learned to bow. To those above, you think silence is surrender. It is not. It is judgment. One by one, Dominion warships began losing connection to their forward scouts. Then came the second message. You stand above our world. You believe you are gods. You are not. You are targets. And finally, the sky above Earth caught fire. A single beam of pure blue energy erupted from a mountain range once thought dormant. It lanced straight through the Dominion's lead destroyer. No warning, no charge-up, just instant obliteration. Silence again. But this time it wasn't Earth that was quiet. It was the invaders. The Dominion hadn't planned for war. They had planned for extermination. In cities like Nairobi, Shanghai, and New Santiago, troops were dropped by the hundreds. Towering aliens with refractive armor, energy shields, and neural-linked rifles. Their orders were clear: secure population centers, disable resistance, capture leaders for interrogation. What they found was smoke, empty streets, powered-down buildings, no civilians. No soldiers, just silence, and the whine of wind. Commander Thress, a six-limbed Scarlari general, stepped into what had once been downtown Berlin. He scanned for heat signatures. Nothing. No power, no signs of life. Terrans have fled, he rasped. Cowards. A moment later, something moved. A flicker of heat, fast, small, low to the ground. One of his lieutenants followed it into a ruined library. That was the last time anyone saw him alive. The ambush was clinical. From behind shattered glass and rubble, figures emerged. Human operatives, clad in reactive exoskin armor that bent light. They moved like shadows, silent, deliberate, merciless. They didn't use plasma. They didn't need to. One soldier planted a shaped charge on a Dominion walker's ankle joint and vanished into smoke. The explosion turned the behemoth into slag. Another used sound-canceling rounds, bullets that killed without echo. In a single, Sector 40 Dominion troops fell in under 4 minutes. Thress attempted to regroup. Consolidate, bring down the building. But even as he spoke, humans were already inside his perimeter, crawling through ducts, swimming through sewer lines, using their own ruins as weapons. One by one, his units vanished. Then, from the old metro tunnel beneath their position, came a voice, a human voice. "Welcome to Earth." From orbit, Supreme Fleet Mind Jurek watched dozens of ground signals disappear. No distress calls, no signs of retreat, just silence. Again. "We're losing full regiments," a tactical AI reported. "They are not retreating, they're hunting," Jurek snarled. "Deploy air support, burn the sectors." But the moment the gunships entered the atmosphere, they were intercepted. Terran aerial units, jet black craft with no thermal signatures and angular wings, launched from hidden bunkers beneath Antarctica and the Andes. They didn't fly like Dominion ships. They danced. A swarm of Terran interceptors dove into the Dominion formation like sharks into a school of fish. One Dominion gunship managed a transmission before it exploded mid-sentence. "They're not using pilots, they're using ghosts," by Re. Sunset, Dominion casualty counts passed 80,000. Not from nukes, not from orbital bombardments, from human hands. The galaxy had called Earth a death world. They hadn't realized it was also a forge, a place where death made monsters. And those monsters were no longer hiding. They were wearing human faces. Above the southern pole, Dominion battlecruisers maintained high orbit, expecting a counterstrike, a missile barrage, maybe kinetic projectiles. They even joked about Earth's primitive weather. Then the ice cracked. No. Shattered. A roar erupted, as an entire glacial shelf split open like glass under pressure. From the fissure rose something impossible, a warship, not a carrier, not a destroyer, a leviathan, black as the void, armored with obsidian lattice plates, its engines glowing, with crimson plasma, designation from Earth Command. Titan 01, Behemoth ascending. Inside the Dominion fleet, chaos. Tactical anomaly. Ship mass exceeds Dreadnought class. Impossible. Nothing that size could fly. Before the sentence ended, Behemoth ascending opened fire. It didn't use lasers. It used atmosphere. Rupture cannons, directing sheer gravitational shockwaves through the ionosphere. One Dominion frigate snapped in two mid-evade. Another tried to cloak. Behemoth simply fired through it. 3 capital ships downed in 60 seconds. Fleet Mind Jurek stared at the incoming data in disbelief. "It's a fortress." They turned ice into a launch pad. His AI blinked. "Correction. There are 6 more thermal signatures under Antarctic crust. Estimated launch in T-. The feed cut off. Meanwhile, in orbit over the equator, Dominion forces attempted to regroup. They redeployed their solar mirrors to blind Earth's surface and initiated high-atmo EMP bombardments. It failed. Human satellites previously offline reactivated all at once, bursting from stealth mode like a school of sharks. They weren't transmitting signals. They were weapons. Each one carried a payload of programmable plasma microbursts, a technology the Dominion didn't believe was possible. The plasma bypassed shields by splitting into AI-controlled filaments targeting weak spots. By the time the Dominion responded, 40 more warships were falling from the sky, engulfed in spirals of burning red and blue. On Earth, Terran ground forces advanced through scorched forests and ash-choked city ruins. Fast, precise, unrelenting. No radio chatter, no morale speeches, just encrypted neural comms and the hum of adaptive gear. In northern Canada, a squad of Dominion elite attempted to seize a Terran AI core facility. They were met by Generation 4 cybernetic infantry, humans with steel-bonded skeletons, plasma-fed lungs, and emotion-dampening neural firewalls. The Dominion fired first and last. Their bodies weren't even left behind. Terran protocols demanded full enemy material cleansing. The red skies above glinted with wreckage. The black ice below still rumbled. By the end of the 3rd day, Dominion war analysts sent their first warning to High Command. Terran resistance is not reactionary. It is premeditated, coordinated, Centuries in the making. Earth is not defending itself. Earth is executing a plan. Dominion Fleet Mind Urek Vo ordered the backup fleet from the Kuiper staging ring. 2,000 more ships burned toward Earth. Their job: wipe the slate clean. He believed Earth had nothing left. Then he received a message, not from Earth, but from Neptune. One word: unencrypted, brutal, checkmate. Suddenly, telemetry from the far side of the solar system started vanishing. Kuiper fleets were gone. What the Dominion didn't know was this: Earth was never alone. Not truly. For over a century, Terran long-range colonists had vanished without trace, presumed dead, lost to deep space. But they hadn't died. They had prepared. Humanity's farthest outposts, on Titan, Callisto, Ganymede, Triton, had gone dark on purpose. Deep cryobunkers, silent factories, no emissions. Now, one by one, they were lighting up. And they were angry. In the orbit of Jupiter, an alien scout ship detected what it thought were asteroids. Until they moved, 100 massive black hulls powered, on at once lighting the void with red engine flares. The Dominion scout tried to retreat, but it was already too late. The Ghost Armada, Terran warships built in secret across decades, had surrounded the reinforcement fleet. Within 4 minutes, every incoming Dominion vessel was erased from the E-year system. No survivors, no signals, just darkness. Back near Earth, panic spread through the Dominion ranks. Commanders who had never tasted fear were now trembling at shadows. Their war minds reported anomalies in every direction: heat signatures beneath the oceans, energy spikes near the moon, even phantom pings from Earth's own tectonic plates. One Dominion destroyer moved to investigate a seemingly dead mining colony on the dark side of the moon. It never sent another signal. Instead, Earth sent a message. This time it was visual. A transmission hijacked every Dominion ship's holofeed. A Terran soldier stood in shadow, face hidden, voice cold. "You thought we were alone. You thought this was Earth's last stand. You were wrong. This is a harvest. And you are the crop." Below, on Earth's seabeds, something stirred. In the Mariana Trench, an ancient vault hissed open. Out swam the Abyssborn, drones adapted to crushing depths and atmospheric re-entry. They weren't soldiers. They were exterminators. Across the globe, oceans boiled as these biomechanical horrors launched from the deeps, rising on grav-lift pillars of steam and fire. Dominion vessels scrambled, trying to escape the planet's orbit. But the moon itself had changed. Terran rail cannons, miles long, buried deep in lunar stone, rotated and locked on, one by one. Dominion escape ships were blown out of the sky. The Dominion strategy had collapsed. Their reinforcements were gone, their fleets surrounded, and the death world they mocked was no longer just a world. It was a weapon, a trap, a final warning to the galaxy. The skies around Earth were no longer a battlefield. They were a slaughterhouse. Dominion warships, once symbols of galactic power, drifted lifeless, plasma venting from ruptured hulls, crew decomposing in shattered bridges. Those that tried to flee found themselves boxed in by an invisible net of gravity mines laid decades ago by Earth's secret deep space program. And still, humanity didn't speak. It executed. In low orbit, the Dominion Command Dreadnought Vantor-class Alzureth began imploding from within, not from external fire but from infiltration. Terran cyber warfare protocols, nicknamed Wraithworms, slithered through the ship's networks, bypassing Dominion firewalls like water through a sieve. Consoles flickered, doors opened and closed at random. Life support reversed in select chambers, flash-freezing elite squads in their armor. Supreme Fleet Mind Jurek Vo gripped the edge of his command throne. Where are they? How are they inside? Behind him, a hologram of Earth appeared. Then its continent split. Not in reality, but as part of a warning simulation. One Earth had sent, directly into the Dominion's fleet core. The meaning was clear. You drew first. Blood. Now bleed last. On Earth, Operation Black Cinder initiated. The humans were no longer just defending cities. They were purging the enemy from orbit inwards. One unit, Ghost Team Kilo 7, used exosuits to leap from the stratosphere, silently falling into the shattered remains of a Dominion orbital ring. No thrusters, no signals, just gravity and hatred. Their mission: insert a mobile singularity charge into the enemy's grav reactor core. They succeeded. The resulting implosion sucked in 4 Dominion cruisers and fractured nearby debris into molten slag. Meanwhile, across Earth, the extinction protocol unfolded. Phase 1. Digital erasure. All Dominion tech infected with Terran Hunter viruses. Phase 2. Battlefield dominance. Autonomous tanks, stored in Earth's crust, surfaced and hunted like wolves. Phase 3. Total atmospheric denial. Earth's AI triggered localized EMP cyclones and oxygen depletion fields around all Dominion drop zones. In one chilling transmission, intercepted by a surviving Dominion scout, a human commander could be heard muttering, "Don't aim to kill, aim to erase. Make them wonder if they ever existed." The galaxy watched in horror. Thousands of alien species monitored the carnage through backdoor feeds and black market relays. They had once mocked Earth as loud apes with rockets. Now they watched as those apes, scarred, silent, and relentless, turned their homeworld into the largest active kill zone in galactic history. The Dominion wasn't just losing, it was being undone. And in the void beyond Saturn, more Terran ships stirred, uncharted, unspoken, and still rising. Because the Dominion had made one fatal mistake. They thought Earth was a planet. They never realized it was a trap. In the Dominion Archive Nexus, panic consumed the remaining strategists. Every algorithm failed. Every countermeasure collapsed. And now, Dominion long-range sensors were detecting massive energy pulses near Neptune's orbit, signatures they couldn't identify. A fleet-mind Urek Vo's final directive: understand Earth's origin, or we die. They dived into captured Terran data, millions of years compressed into endless lines of fractured history. Wars, revolutions, extinctions, rebirth. Then, silence. Roughly 800 years prior, an unexplained event. Entire Terran sectors went dark, outposts decommissioned, civilian populations removed, archives redacted. It was called the Exodus Initiative. A name, a void, and a warning. Far beyond Pluto, a Dominion scout vessel approached the Oort cloud, searching for the source of the Neptune pulses. They found it. A fleet of Terran exile ships, massive, armored, built from forgotten materials no longer found on Earth. These ships bore no insignia, no flags, only one symbol, a broken circle surrounded by fangs. These were the exiles, genetically divergent, tactically ruthless, sent away centuries ago, not because they were dangerous to the galaxy, but because they were too dangerous to Earth. And now, they were coming back. On Earth's surface, the skies darkened as unnatural clouds began to twist and spiral. Earth's planetary AI, orbital Primarch, Gaia, sent out a final planetary override. Exiles verified. Homecoming underway. All Dominion targets marked for absolute eradication. The exile fleet didn't communicate. It didn't warn. It descended. Each ship broke through the upper atmosphere like falling stars, glowing, shrieking, burning through gravity like it was nothing. When the first exile shock troopers landed in the ruins of Rome, Dominion commanders assumed they were facing more Deathworld humans. They were wrong. These humans were taller, heavier, their blood glowed with internal heat. Their armor grew with them. Liquid metal bonded with their nervous systems. They didn't carry rifles. They carried weapons made of living machines. One exile warrior landed alone in the middle of a Dominion firebase in Mongolia. 10 Dominion heavy, walkers opened fire. Plasma beams, kinetic shells, EMP blasts. When the smoke cleared, he was still standing. He whispered one word into a Terran frequency. "Remember us." Then he tore them apart, bare-handed. Across Earth, the ground itself began, responding to the exile presence. Old bunkers opened, dormant AI defenses reactivated. Entire mountainsides split open to reveal superweapons built centuries ago, vaults even modern Terrans had forgotten. This wasn't just a counterattack. It was a return, humanity's forgotten. Children had come home, and they had inherited a war. The Dominion had conquered hundreds of worlds, burned thousands, but they had never faced a unified Earth. Not until now. Earth was no longer a battlefield. It was a furnace. Entire continents glowed red with atmospheric friction. Not from nuclear detonation, not from Terran orbital strikes, from re-entry. Thousands of Terran warpods rained from the skies like metal, comets, each carrying a single unit, exile or death worlder born, encased in ablative armor. They didn't use parachutes. They crashed into Dominion strongholds like divine hammers. No warning, no message, just impact. In the Amazon exclusion zone, a Dominion command base had been established under layers of jungle canopy and carbon shielding. Commanders were confident no signal could reach them. Then their floor cracked. A warpod had pierced 300 meters of jungle and steel and erupted inside their command chamber. The Terran exile inside didn't speak. He simply raised a fusion axe and ignited the room. Within 4 seconds, the base ceased to exist. Above Earth, the Dominion's final surviving super dreadnought, Vantor-class Mir, turned its solar cannon toward the planet, charging for one last planetary-scale blast. But as the firing sequence initiated, all 112 crew members began bleeding from their ears. A pulse had hit them, not radiation, not sound, a signal. Encoded Terran silence, black wave frequency, buried inside background, cosmic radiation. It didn't destroy electronics, it erased thought. The crew dropped catatonic, paralyzed in their command chairs. Then the dreadnought's main cannon twisted, turned, and, on its own, fired into the heart of the Dominion fleet. The Terran AI, system, orbital Primarch, Gaia, had taken control of the vessel from outside the EM spectrum. "Your fleet is no longer yours," Gaia transmitted in a cold, layered voice. "It belongs to Earth. And Earth is done being quiet." Across orbit, hundreds of Dominion ships suddenly went dark. Their own weapons turned inward. Self-destructs reversed. Engines overloaded. The Dominion had always feared brute force. They never expected Earth to fight with thought. Back on the surface, the Scorch Protocol engaged. Terran forces began burning entire battlegrounds, cleansing zones with hyper-oxygenated flame bursts that moved like controlled wildfires. Not just to destroy the enemy, but to sanitize the soil. Earth would not be polluted by alien blood. In Australia, an entire mountain range was consumed in orange firestorm pillars as the last Dominion garrison was overrun. A single survivor crawled from the flames. He looked to the sky and saw Earth's moon opening. Massive petals of alloyed lunar stone peeled back to reveal the final weapon, Lunaris Prime, a planetary railgun, dormant for 1,000 years. Built as Earth's last answer, it turned toward the stars. In the silence that followed, one thing became clear to the galaxy. Earth had not just repelled an invasion, it had written a message, across fire, silence, and steel. "We were quiet. We warned you. Now watch." The sky above Earth was no longer filled with fire. It was quiet, silent, still, dead. The Dominion invasion force had been annihilated, systematically, brutally, and with a level of strategic precision the galaxy had never seen from a single species. Humanity hadn't fought for survival, it had fought for dominance. The 17 ships that fled Earth's orbit were all that remained of the once glorious Dominion assault fleet. Their captains had disabled their own tracking beacons, discarded weapons, and masked life signs. They didn't escape in formation, they scattered like rats in the void, each of them hoping, praying that Earth wouldn't follow. One ship, Graal's Wound, reached the edge of the Helios drift, a dark region of deep space. It was alone. Lights off. Power minimal. Yet something pinged their sensors, just once. A small object, drifting, no heat signature, no propulsion. The crew brought it aboard. It was a black box, carbon-laced, stamped with Earth's symbol. Inside, a recording, a man's voice, calm, measured, unmistakably human. You were allowed to leave, that was mercy. Don't mistake it for forgiveness. A second vessel, Zethra's Bone, found itself lost in folded space. The navigation AI spun wildly, unable to determine location. Then a sound filled the ship. A heartbeat, slow, inhuman. They opened an external cam and saw it, a Terran stealth frigate inside the warp corridor with them. It didn't fire. It simply followed them for 3 days, silent, lights off, like a predator watching prey grow old. Then it vanished. No attack, just a message burned into their starboard hull. We remember. Elsewhere, the Galactic Concord convened an emergency session. Thousands of species tuned in, and for the first time in centuries, the Earth's seat was no longer empty. A figure appeared, obsidian armor, face covered, voice synthetic. You invited extinction to our sky. You brought fire to our oceans. You erased our envoy. A pause. Then, now you will rebuild. You will not speak of peace. You will earn it. The figure raised a hand, and behind him a live feed showed Earth, from orbit. Black scars across continents. Oceans glowing with aftermath. And yet, skies clearing. The planet healing. Even after all that had been done, Earth was still standing. The message ended with final words spoken in dozens of languages. Tell your children what you saw. Tell them to leave Earth alone. Or we'll bury stars to prove a point. The 17 ships wandered the stars for years. Some disappeared. Others became warnings. But one thing became legend across the galaxy. Never return to Earth. Never again. Because Earth didn't just survive the war, it became the storm.